2020 is close and we want to get our money right in the new year. So I'm just checking the time to make sure that Lagos, to make sure that we begin on time. Please make sure that your mic is muted when you join. Ado Ekiti, wow, awesome. Ope, thank you for joining. Nkechi, don't worry, after this session, we owe you a gift because you were the first person to join. All right, everyone, so it is 6 p.m. So we're going to start now and we're running this session for an hour. This will be a short session, but I'm sure that at the end of it, that everyone will learn something. So if you have a friend who, registered or hasn't even registered yet, but isn't in the meeting, please invite them and ensure that they join. Okay, so I'll just tell a short story of why we're doing this. So we are very, very active on Twitter, and recently on Twitter, we just saw that, a lot of people were talking about 2021 and how they want to get their money right, how they want to ensure that, their personal finance is top notch in 2021. And we thought, why not have a session where we teach about how to do that yourself, in a very uncomplicated manner. So that's why we're having this session. And today, Yami, our product manager, would be taking us through the first session on how to manage your personal finance in 2021. And then for the second session, we would have Damilola Hassan, who has, over 14 years experience in the fintech sector, right? Everybody is saying Okwe from Cowrywise. My name is Mobolaji. Hi, everyone. I'm Mobolaji from Cowrywise. What did you hear last? Well, that means you just joined. Okay, so Yami I was saying that Yami, our product manager, we'll take the first session on how to manage your personal finance in 2021, and then Damilola Hassan, the MD of Meristem, will take the next session after her. And then after that, we would have a Q&A. So while Yami is speaking or while Damilola Hassan is speaking, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box, while they are speaking, so that they don't get distracted. And then after both of them speak, you can then ask your questions, and we'll take your questions for about 15 minutes before we now end the session. But before I started speaking, I was asking everybody to tell us where they were joining from. So if you hadn't joined then, just leave it in the chat box. I'm saying new names: Obina, Odunfa, Abuja. Joshua is from Abuja. Welcome, Joshua. Sadiq, Speedwell, where are you joining us from? Before Yami begins her session. Lagos. All right, awesome. Welcome, everyone. So I will just take the introduction for Yami before she begins her session, so that you have like a short or a small idea of the kind of person that she is, right? So Yami is our product manager at Cowrywise. Yami works with a diverse and talented team of people in multidisciplinary roles such as design, development, customer success, finance, products, and brand management. Together, they are grooming the next wealthy generation of Africans through digital products and experiences. She sits at the beautiful intersection of business and customer success. Beyond Cowrywise, Yami sings, and she sings really well, and writes songs, geeks out on the Bible, and loves experimenting with food. So please just leave I know that we cannot unmute ourselves, but clap for Yami in the chat box. Leave a clap icon for Yami in the chat box as she takes, the next session. So Yami, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mobolaji. Okay, yeah. Hi, Odunfa. All right, I think I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So yes, we're supposed to be talking about getting your money right in 2021. Like Mobolaji already shared, it was something that we noticed a lot of people were asking about, and we decided that we're going to just, do something about it, and try to share in very simple, everyday term. So I'm not a finance person, so what I'll be sharing would basically just be from my own everyday money lifestyle. So don't worry, I'm not going to bamboozle you with plenty financial terms. It will be really simple, I promise. So yes, let's just get into it. Yes. So I want you guys to share. I don't know if anybody here has checked their Cowrywise roundup. I just want to know what you guys, what your verdict was. So I'm a modest Macau, and I'm still fighting with my colleague over it because I think I should, be something else. But I just want to know what yours is. Okay, so I can see. Ha, Obina, you can't find your own roundup. Why? Consistent Cougar Joshua. Oh, nice. Budding Butterfly. That's Mbolaji. Modest Macau. Oluwatomi. Budding Butterfly. Fairy Fox. Yay. Modest Mac. Oh, no, so Fairy Fox. It's even putting exclamation mark to put it in our face. Can you imagine? Okay. Fairy Fox. Abdullahi. I hope I pronounced that right. Image Young. Modest Macau. Budding Butterfly. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Irrespective of what it is that yours was this year, I think considering how this year has been, right, everybody deserves a pat on the back. So, like, hug yourself, give yourself a pat on the back, just clap for yourself. We all did good in 2020. I think that's like the summary of it. Yes, so basically, like I said, irrespective of how 2020 turned out, right? 2021 is a new year. Um, it's a new start, an opportunity for you to do better or to get started if you haven't like been doing anything with respect to your finances. And very quickly, I'm just going to share basically three guiding principles on how I think you can get your money right in 2021. And personally, these are things that I currently do or things that I apply in my own personal finance, I say life experience. But yeah, so first thing that I would say is to define your identity. So, who do you want to be? Um, what do you, who do you want to be? And then why do you want to be that person, right? Why do you want to get your money right? Why do you want to, um, make money, or why do you want to save, or why do you want to build wealth? Whatever it is, why do you actually want to do it? Who do you want to be? And I'm saying this because I know that most times we're often told to what's the word? To start with goals. Yes. So like say, oh, I want to do 100K at the end of this year, or I want to do 2 million at the end of the year, or something like that. It's not bad, but personally, I found that I stick with things when I understand why I'm even doing it in the first place. So if you have a goal to maybe do up to 1 million at the end of next year, that's beautiful. It's amazing. Something good to shoot for. But you really need to actually ask yourself, why do you want to do it, or who do you want to be, right? That you think being, achieving that goal of saving up to a million or building a portfolio that's worth up to 1 million would help you with. So there are two quotes rather that I wrote here that I think really helps with this. First is, so we've been reading Atomic Habits at work currently, like we've been doing like a group book club thingy. And there's something that James Clear wrote that really just hits on this, and I just want to share that. So he says, true behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you stick with one is that it becomes part of your identity. And the idea is you're not just saying that you want to save XYZ amount, but you understand that by the time you actually achieve that goal, or by the time you're able to achieve that outcome that you're looking at, there's somebody that you become in that process. And you want to not just focus on achieving an outcome, but really redefining yourself. So you want to be, maybe, for instance, somebody who is more financially accountable, meaning that you know where, or you understand how you're spending your money. You want to be someone who gives more financially. So you know that based on that, whatever financial goal you're setting, there has to be something that covers for you being able to give more to people and help people financially. You want to be financially independent, then you know that the goal that you're building towards, right, would has to be something that would help you to become that financial independent person. So I would say start from who you want to be, start from why you want to achieve a specific outcome, right? So, like I put there as well, Simon Sinek quotes. If you know the book, you probably would already be familiar with this. So, start with why, where it says people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. Why is the reason, and what is the tangible proof? So, why do you want to get your finances right, and saving 1M for a year or investing up to 1 million for a year or something like that is basically the tangible proof of whatever, of who you say you want to be. All right, so moving on. Oh yes, I was actually going to ask, if you could switch identity with somebody in the world, who would it be? Like if you could take on someone's identity, a rich person's identity, who would it be? Jeff Bezos. Interesting. Why? Warren Buffett, Beyonce, Elon Musk. Okay. Another Elon Musk. Melinda Gates. Interesting. Shola Akinlade. Okay. Bill Gates. Mark Zuckerberg. Oprah. Who do you want to be? Choose one. Jeff Bezos. Nice. Dangote because he's a serial entrepreneur. Cool. Elon Musk. Warren Buffett. Fola Adiola. Bishop Oyedepo because he's successful in all the areas. Okay. All right. So maybe when you have time, there's a reason why I included this. And it's because each of these person they are wealthy in their own right, and there's a certain identity that probably communicates to you, right? There's a way each of these person use their wealth or use their influence, and there's definitely a driving force behind what it is that they do. So as much as you admire these people, I think it's also important that you yourself are able to define for yourself and say, this is the kind of person that I want to be when it comes to my finances, and then build your goals based on that. But we will still touch more on that. So let me run quickly. The next thing is you have to understand where you are, and you have to actually accept like your reality. So how much am I making currently? Where's my money going to? How much do I have saved or invested? How much am I owing? All of those stuff. It's like basically just really, really having that clear picture of how it is that you're currently doing in terms of your finances. And the goal is not for you to feel bad or to judge yourself or criticize yourself. It's actually for you to understand where you are. And then based on that, be able to come up with a plan that works for you. So it should not be about, oh, they say everybody should, do 10% of their monthly income as their savings, or do 20% or 30%, or this group of people are doing 50%. That's good, but you have to actually understand where you are currently and what it is that you can do. Because to be honest, it won't make a lot of sense, and it won't be fair if you have like really huge debts that you need to settle, and you're just acting like that doesn't exist, and then you're going on to just save or invest because you maybe want to go on a vacation or something like that. But really understanding where you are and then using that knowledge to build a plan that would work for you, a plan that you can end up sticking to. So if you can't do 10% currently, maybe because your income is not enough, then that tells you that, oh, you need to probably come up with a plan to increase your income and then maybe do less than 10% or something like that. But really just understanding that this is where I am and building that plan to help you, evolve and achieve whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. The last thing that I will share on is building habits and systems. So I've spoken about defining your identity, and I've spoken about understanding and accepting where it is that you currently are. This is like the final, should I say the word building block? Like this is what really puts everything together. So it's not enough that you know that you want to be financially responsible. That's one step. The next step is then understanding what do I need to do to actually make myself be financially responsible. So if I have a goal, or if one of the outcomes that I'm looking at is to have a savings account with up to 1 million naira outside of maybe the regular income that I spend or any of those things, how am I going to actually achieve that goal of having that savings account with that amount of money in it? So like really breaking down the outcomes that you're looking for into little bits. So I would say that you should leverage tools, automate your savings and investments. And that's something that we allow you to on Cowrywise, right? You can actually automate your savings, you can automate your investments. There's the option of if for one reason or the other, right? Maybe apart from automating it, you probably need a constant reminder to make sure that you commit to that goal. Set a reminder on your phone so that you actually do that thing. Don't just have it written down somewhere or in your head and think, oh, I already know that this is what I want to do. But like leverage everyday tools that are available for you. So have different plans for different goals, right? Very likely you're building towards different things. So personally, for instance, giving is something that I'm very big on. And in order to make sure that I don't end up giving all of my money away and putting myself in trouble, I have like a separate, oh, this is a savings that I'm building in order to be able to help people with XYZ, whatever it is that I want to help them with. This is my own personal savings that I'm building for so and so reason. And then there's the option of having like things that you're doing in the short term, things that you're doing in the long term, but really just splitting everything and making it clear that this money goes here, this goes there, and then leveraging the tools that are available for you. Again, Cowrywise is, I mean, it's something that we already help you with, that we can help you with. So saving, investing, automating it. We have challenges that you can also do, which would help you if you're also the type of person that maybe you need ginger from other people to like push you and keep you committed to what it is that you're trying to do, right? So leverage those tools that are around you and then start small or start big depending on how much you can afford to save. That's why I actually put there. So some people can afford to do 50% of their income monthly as savings. Some people are at a level where they can probably just do 1% or 2% or 10%. The key thing is actually that you stay disciplined and you are consistent. So you're doing it every day. You don't just, not that you save this month or you save this time and then we don't see you again, which is one of the reasons why automation is really, really, really important, because then it helps you stay committed, it helps you stay consistent. So whether that's monthly or weekly or daily, but it's really important that you stay disciplined and you stay consistent with your savings. And in conclusion, I would leave you with this: play iterated games. All the returns in life, whether in wealth, relationships, or knowledge, come from compound interest. And it's simply riding on the fact that you are consistently doing something. You do it today, it looks small. You do it tomorrow, it still looks small. But by the time you add up doing that thing consistently, so saving 10% consistently or even if it's 1%, but you're doing it consistently, by the time you add up everything at the end of a year, it's a huge difference, right? That there's a huge returns that you will get to enjoy from it. So that's it from me. Just to recap, define who you want to be financially and why. Understand where you are currently, and then build a plan that works for you in light of that. And finally, build habits and systems, leverage tools, start small or start big, be disciplined, be consistent. Thank you guys very much, and I hope that helps. All right.
Thank you, Yami. Thanks a lot. Well done, Yami. They're already hailing you in the comments. Thanks a lot, Yami. I learned a lot from your session, but I think one thing that I took away was number one, to take debt seriously. So I find that, as young people, sometimes we can be, peer pressured to live life in a way that we can't really afford, and then we go into debt, right? So as you're entering into 2021, that's something you should remember, that, before I even start saying, I want to save, I want to invest, I need to take the plan of my debt repayment seriously in case you have any debt. And I liked the idea on automation as well, even if it is 100 naira per day. So I saw a tweet of someone who for this year, I think he said 200 naira per day, and he just wanted money for Christmas. So he started in January and he has saved like 50 something K, right, that he can spend, in December. So, as you go into the new year, automate your savings. Don't just wish that you have savings. It will not happen, right? But actually automate the process. So thanks a lot, Yami. So right now we'll be going into the next session by Damilola Hassan, and I'll just be reading her profile before she begins. So Damilola Hassan is a financial planner with over 14 years experience in the financial services sector. Prior to her foray into investment banking, Damilola worked with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, where she acquired significant experience in policy advocacy and harmonization of public and private sector interests before joining Meristem Securities Limited in 2006. She has comprehensive experience in investment advisory, portfolio management, marketing, corporate communications, and client relationship management, with keen interest in estate planning. She is currently the managing director of Meristem Trustees Limited, a company licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission to provide trust services. Damilola has attended several trainings with leading institutions in Nigeria, Europe, and the United States, including the Lagos Business School, the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. She holds a Master of Science and a Master of Business Administration degree. Wow. And is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. She is an authorized dealing clerk of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a member of the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments, United Kingdom, and an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Nigeria. She is a facilitator at the Entrepreneurship Academy, Lagos, and is currently the vice president of the Association of Corporate and Individual Investment Advisors of Nigeria. So please, let's, I know we might not be able to, again, show our videos, but leave a clap icon in the chat box to encourage, and invite Damilola Hassan. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Yes, so I said Yami has laid the foundation. She spoke a lot as to the key things we need to know. Basically, what are we doing this evening? We're just trying to talk about doing better with our money, right? We've taken decisions over time, money decisions, and some good, some not so good, and but we have the opportunity to plan yet for another year where 2021 is just a few days ahead of us. And, so we have that opportunity yet again to put a lot of things together and just help to, keep 2021 in focus and set certain goals. So I just, let me quickly jump in by saying, I want to share with us on what we should be doing with money. When should you do what you need to do, and then how should you go about doing it? So simply put, you can call it the what, the when, and the how. I want to really keep it simple that way. Please, as I speak, if you're not clear on anything, just quickly drop your comments in the chat room, and Mobolaji will highlight that so that we can address it during the question and answer session. So what do you want for yourself? Yami said a lot about setting your priorities and defining where you're heading to. So I'm not going to belabor that. It's important that we paint a picture of where we are headed. What do you want for yourself? What do you want to achieve when it comes to your money goals? What is that picture that you've painted before you? If you're clueless as to what you really want to achieve with money, you would not be, your direction towards your goals will be haphazard. So you don't just step out of the house and decide, okay, when I get into the car, I'll know where I'm heading to. You really would have decided on where you're heading to before you step out of the house, So it's good that you paint a picture of what you want to achieve. But let me just move on. Like I said, Yami has said a lot about that. Now, to the when, I said we're talking about the what, the when, and the how. When do you want it? These things that you want, this picture of the future that you've painted, when do you want it? We know that your future is all about the every day, every week, every month, every year that, pile up. So what exactly do you want, and within what time frame? To help you address that, you can take it a step further by asking yourself, what do I want to achieve within what time period? Break it down into goals. Set goals for yourself. Set money goals. What are your short-term goals, your medium-term goals, and your long-term goals? And you need to be very realistic with these goals. We're all familiar with the acronym SMART. When you're setting goals, you have to be able to set specific, measurable, time-bound goals that you can measure, you can define per time. You can't wish to have everything all at once. You have to be realistic in setting those goals. And the goals you set will determine the actions that you will take. So for your short-term goals, let me give an example. What comes to mind? Can someone share on the chat what would be a short-term goal? And then let someone else share what would be a medium-term goal, while another person should share. Just type in the chat room what would be a long-term goal so that I can use your examples. So what would be your short-term goal? Okay, get a car in 2 years. Okay, buy a car short-term. So if typically your short-term will be 1 year, thereabouts, plus or minus 6 months. So write an exam, So you have a lot of short-term goals. I like that. So your short-term goals, let's assume they are goals that you want to achieve within 12 to 18 months. Your medium-term goals, 2-3 years, and then your long-term goals, 4-5 years and above, 10 years from now. So how do you want to go about it? For your short-term goal, someone says that they want to buy a car in another 1 year, for example. If that is your goal, you have to determine how much do I need to achieve this goal? I need 1.5 million naira, for example. So if you need 1.5 million naira, whatever it is, you then ask yourself, how can I achieve this 1.5 million naira? Look at your situation. What's your everyday reality? What are you earning at the moment? What is your income level like? And then work it backwards to say, okay, so if I'm earning this much, I can spare this much. So if I need 1.5 million in 12 months' time. Am I able to set aside 120,000 per month, for example? Or am I able to set aside 50,000 every month? That's my reality. But then any other extra that comes my way, I'm able to put into that goal that I've set for myself. Or you want to ask yourself, okay, everything, if I'm so prudent, I'm not wasteful and all of that, the best I'm able to save per month is 20K, for example. You then come back to that goal, that 1 year goal of buying a car for 1.5 million. And then the best you're able to do is 20K based on your current reality. You now then have to ask yourself, what do I need to do to change this reality? It probably means that you're not earning enough income. So you want to look at your ability to earn more in terms of income. What are the other things that I can do? Because there's a limit to how you can stretch yourself. So imagine if you earn 50,000 a month, for example, and you have that that big dream of 1.5 million at the end of the year. You can't, they don't gel. So something must just give. You have to, if you can't, it's either you adjust your goal to say, hey, I can't do a car at the end of the year. I can probably do keke napep or something. You adjust your dream down, cut down the goal, or this is the other side I prefer. You go back to the income side and adjust. What can I do to make more money so that I can achieve that? And then, so that is just how it applies to all of our goals that we set, whether short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. Let me quickly jump into what we need to do, because I think over and over again, many of us have sat in meetings, we've attended webinars where we've heard a lot of these things. Some of us have been motivated, we take decisions. Okay, so after this webinar, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then 1-2 months down the line, you are not pursuing those things as you ought to. So what should you do? I am a very strong, so we're at the how. You know, I said we'll talk about the what, the when, and the how. How do you go about achieving what you want to achieve with your money goals for 2021 and beyond? The first thing I believe you need to do is to be an investor. When I say be an investor, I'm talking about the total you, investing in yourself. So I'm talking about be a financial investor, so invest your money. I'm talking about being a relational investor, invest in relationships. Invest in you as a person, personal development. And why is that so? It's important, absolutely important, that you invest in yourself so that you can be a better version of yourself, so that your capacity to earn can improve, so that your ability to dream big and to meet those desires, they are strengthened when your capacity is enlarged, when your ability to earn income is improved upon. So wherever you are, ask yourself, what am I investing in? For some of us, we're at the stage where our primary goal should be saving towards investing in yourself. So your short-term goal is probably to go for a master's or to enroll for a professional course, or to take, a free course online, so that at the end of 1 year, you can have this proficiency and that proficiency. And why is this important? Like I said, you want to improve your capacity to earn. Improving your money is what people trade in exchange for value. So ask yourself, what value am I putting on the table? So you get a job today and you expect that you'll be promoted in 2 years' time. Ask yourself, what does my employer want? What value am I dropping on the table that will earn that promotion in 2 years' time? Or are you just going to be lost in the crowd and be like every other person who's just coming and going, they get their job done, and then they move on with life? No. You should be very, very deliberate about the investments you're making in yourself. We'll talk a bit more about the financial investment, but I just want to emphasize that bit about the personal investment in yourself. It's one of the best gifts that you can give to yourself. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Consistently be a better version of you. So as you get into 2021, what are you trying to do with your money that will make you a better version of yourself? You should be asking yourself, what do I want to, what should I be doing to improve on myself? You know, and I said, invest in relationships. Let me give you a story. So I like to share based on real life stories. There's a story of this guy. I don't want to give too much details, but this guy works in an organization where he was employed as a driver. Employed as a driver, he knows that all he had was a school certificate, you know, and he didn't progress into the university. But after some time, this guy, you know, hustled and was able to just buy admission form and, you know, took the exams and gained admission into the National Open University. And guess what? A certain Christmas some years ago, when every other person, other junior staff, drivers, cleaners, you know, how typically everybody goes around, God, where's my Christmas something? Where's my, you know, this guy went around to his senior colleagues in his organization with his admission letter into National Open University. And all he was saying was that, you've motivated me, blah, blah, blah. See my admission letter into National Open University. I want to study, so these are the fees, this is what I have, but I don't have enough to take me through. And he raised money. You know, for everybody that came up, people were like, oh, wow, you can do this for yourself, really? And people gave him money, people 5,000, 10,000. And this guy opened a mutual fund account and he put all the money that he received into it. And that was how he was able to pay his way. So allow me to take you back to what I said earlier about the investments you're making. You're making an investment in relationships around you. So this guy was not the typical very lazy driver who would, so he had invested in relationships, and that's why he could go around and leverage those relationships to raise the funds. So it comes back to, what are your dreams? How big are your dreams? What are the things that you are longing for, and how, to what extent do you really want those dreams achieved? The next point on making it happen, everybody needs to make a budget, but how many people actually make a budget? What are you earning? And how are you spending? You need to put pen to paper. You shouldn't just have a haphazard idea of what your spendings are. You should know what exactly it is that you spend money on. You should track and keep records. I don't mean be the stingy guy or the stingy person in the crib where, you know, you just sit and wait for others to spend their money, and you don't spend just because you're saving, and because Okwe from Cowrywise will soon send that is powerful or her powerful email, you know, and then, so, but you just want to live a balanced life, and you want to be sure that you are pursuing the things that you need to be conscious of what you're spending money on. And at the same time, to try to set rewards for yourself. It's very important that you, as an investor, someone who is going to be investing in their finances, investing in, you need to understand the concept of risk and returns in investments. So I hear people say things like, I lost money because I put money in blah, 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 blah. And they stole my money. I lost my money. I can't get them again. And then I ask, okay, so what exactly did they promise you when you were going to put in money? Somebody said, yes, they promised me 50% in 6 months. Interesting. They promised you 50% returns in 6 months, and you didn't know that. That's a red flag. Just know this: risk and returns go hand in hand. The higher the returns, the higher the risk. Now, I decided to put it that way. It's also the same way you can say the higher the risk, the higher the return. But let's put it this way, because most of you and I, what we see first is the returns. The higher the returns, the higher the risk. So when you know that mutual funds generally they're returning 5%, for example, or so is returning 10%, and you know what the average return in the market is. Yes, you can have breakthrough investments that can give something above that. But when the returns are significantly high, you should walk in with your two eyes open, knowing fully well that the risks are high and that you can lose that money. If you can just be, if that is all you take away from this session today, that when you are being given returns that are mouth-watering, you should know that there's a certain degree of risk that's associated with that sort of investment, and so that should just. I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, if your risk appetite is up there, why not? But just know that you can lose all of your money. Then the second thing as a roundup is to let you know that you cannot, if you want to, there's this rule of thumb that says that if you want to be extra good, if you want to be good at something, there's a minimum level of investment you have to put into that thing. So if you've read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he talked about investing an average of 300 hours into something that you're passionate about, and then that's when you can actually say that you own that space. And so if you want to do better with your money, you need to consciously gather information on money. Consciously gather information about investments. When you receive emails from Okwe, from Cowrywise, open, read. Sometimes you don't understand everything that you're reading, but what you want to do is take note of the things you don't understand and go online, research more on such things. Don't just say, I beg, I don't know what these people are talking about. It's not my forte. I'm not saying become a professional. We all have our fields, but you should try to gain some level of information. If you're going to put your money in something, at least understand what it is that you're putting your money in. You're putting your money in Forex, whatever it is, gain a certain level of information, read up on it so that you know what you are doing, you know what you are walking into. At least you are quite informed with that. So let me round up by saying this, that the best time, so there's this Chinese proverb that talks about the best time to plant a bamboo tree. The best time to plant a bamboo tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. So whatever mistakes you've made money-wise over the years, you need to, from 2021, be conscious of the decisions that you make with your money, and don't just stop at taking a decision on what you want to do. Be accountable and stay the course. Be disciplined enough to ensure that you follow through with the things that you've decided on. I need to go now. Thank you. So I'm very much around to take questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you guys please appreciate her by, we always use the chat box, by clapping or leaving icons, in the chat box. Thank you for your session. And one thing that stood out for me was just what you said about being cautious. And earlier you mentioned something about budgeting, and I just want to ask everybody here, I feel like budgeting is like the basic way to even start, being serious with your finances. So everybody here, we have about 93 people here. If you already have a budget that you stick to every month, can you say maybe say yes in the chat box? If you are someone who already has a budget that you stick to, let's know how many people have already said, oh, Nicole, yes, wow, that's amazing, yes. I feel like that's an amazing start. If you already have a budget that you stick to every month, then you are on the right track. And for some of us that have not yet mastered this budgeting of a thing, this year is a good place to start. We actually don't have to wait to enter 2021 to start budgeting our money and just knowing exactly where every coin, we like to use that word coin, in Cowrywise, because it tells you that no matter how little, that money is important. So thank you, Yami, and thank you, Damilola, for your session. We'll just use the remaining time that we have to take questions. So if you have any question, please can you leave it in the chat box and direct it at a specific person. So if you want Yami to answer the question, you put the question and state Yami. If you want Damilola to answer the question, you put your question and then you state that you want her to answer. So, any money questions, anyone, let's just use this remaining time to interact. I think we had some questions earlier though. Anyone has any question about, what you've heard this evening or something we haven't even covered yet, right? That you would like to clarify, you would like some clarification on, you can leave it in the chat box as well. Okay, someone says, can I invest directly with Merisem as an individual? DH, that's your question. You're muted.
Oh, yes, you can. I mean, so like I said, any information you want, just go online, you will find it, you would find it. So you can check out the Merisem NG website and see what fits you, what exactly it is that you want, and you can do an email or activate the live chat, and then you will be responded to. But of course, Yami would also provide, I think she did provide information on some of the platforms, some of the things that Cowrywise also has to offer. So yes, you can invest directly. And just start from wherever, so you don't need to have millions to start.
Okay, so Philip says, can Mrs. Hassan please give a clue of how to prepare a budget?
See, just keep it simple. What exactly is a budget? So a budget allows you to prepare an income, what you anticipate to earn in terms of income. So when you are setting your budget for 2021, where you are at the moment, what do you earn? What are the projections in terms of additional income? So if I earn 100,000 a month, that's in setting your budget, that's income. But then how much do I spend also at this point in time on bills, recurring bills, and then do I have capital projects? Are there key things I need to do? So you just have to identify what your income is, what your expenses. Now, if you have a deficit, like, okay, let me not say much, but let's just leave it that if you have a deficit, you now then need to ask yourself, where do I plug? How do I plug this deficit? I mean, deficit in terms of if you drop a budget and your expenses are higher than your income, then like I said earlier, you are either going to trim your expenses to fit into your income, or you go back to your income lines and see how you can better improve your income earning capacity. So if you have a car, you drive yourself to work, you may decide, okay, maybe I should add Uber or Bolt services to what I do so that I can earn extra income on an asset that I already have. I mean, we can go on and on about that, but so it's just simple, you being realistic with what your income, your expenses are, and what you can do better with your money. Yeah.
We have a blog that already sort of has answers to some of these questions, cowrywise.com/blog. I'm sure you'll be able to find very, very useful information for your personal finance. Yami, somebody has a question for you. Is it possible to add to my Cowrywise account? I've had problems adding my Stanbic dollar card. I don't receive OTP.
Okay. Hi, Obina. So currently, no, you can't add a dollar card on Cowrywise. So that's likely why you're not getting um, the OTP. That's one reason why. Another reason would probably also be that your card is maybe not allowed for online transactions. But currently, you can't actually add a dollar card on Cowrywise. You can't do that for now. Someone asked about mutual funds on Cowrywise. So currently, what we do at Cowrywise with respect to mutual funds is we act as a mutual fund marketplace. And what that means rather is you can access funds from different fund managers. So we have funds from Meristem, we have from Lotus, we have from United Capital and a couple other ones. And you can access each of these different funds from different fund managers on Cowrywise. We have Naira funds and then there are dollar mutual funds as well. And for the dollar mutual funds, you don't actually need to have a dollar card or a dollar account for you to be able to invest in those. So what we do is you can access the funds with Naira. So you pay in Naira and then we handle the conversion for you. So you can actually invest in the Naira funds and then invest in dollar funds using your Naira card. Yeah, so with respect to how mutual funds work on Cowrywise, so what we've done is basically to categorize funds based on their risk level. And based on the risk level, the way you earn returns will also differ. So you will see currently that we have funds that are categorized as low risk, we have funds that are categorized as medium risk, and then we have those that are categorized as high risk funds. So for a low risk fund, typically you would find money market funds under that category. And in terms of earning, most times your returns would be in the form of interest. So for example, if you check the Meristem Money Market Fund on Cowrywise, you can see, oh, this fund is performing at so and so rates as at today. However, those rates changes. That's like the major thing that happens with money market funds, right? So your returns are based on interest, but those rates are not, they're not constant, or they're not fixed. Yeah, so it changes daily based on market performance and a whole other stuff, whole lot of other financial stuff that is happening in the background. But yeah, you can see every day how that fund is performing, and then you can see like a breakdown of how the performance is translating into specific money value for you. Then for medium and high risk funds, typically returns are based on capital gains. And what that simply means is when you're investing in a mutual fund, you're buying units of that fund. So you might buy a fund today at say 100 Naira, and then by tomorrow, the price of the unit price of that fund goes up. So if you bought at 100 Naira today and say by tomorrow, it goes up to 102 Naira, based on the number of units that you have, you would have gained 2 Naira for every unit. So if you bought, say, 10 units at 100 Naira, that would be 1,000 Naira that you invested. And if you gained, if the price of the fund went up by 2 Naira, so 102, you just do 2 times the number of units that you have, and you can understand how the fund is performing and how your value is increasing. So that's like a summary, but we'll probably have to do a more detailed version for you guys through email.
So I love that, we're really engaged and we're asking questions, but I also don't want this session to just be about how do I use, the customers that have had questions about how to use the Cowrywise app or one feature. You people want to turn this session to, how to use the app, but we would, curate your questions and answer. So as we round up this session, again, I would like to say thank you very much to Madam Damilola Hassan and Yami, our dear product manager. Really appreciate your time. But for everyone who has joined, do you have any other topics that you'd like us to cover? So as we round up and, leave this session this evening, if you have any specific questions or anything about savings and investing in the new year that you would like clarification on, just leave it in the chat box, and we would either answer by email, or we would answer by having another session. Someone is saying, where is Okpe? Please, can you ask questions about saving and investing in the new year? Abara, Okpe is fine. Okpe is fine. But as we round up, please, okay, sorry. Abdullahi, Abisola, any questions you want us to cover? Okay, the recorded session. Yes, we would share the recorded session with everyone. More sessions on savings and investment opportunities for freelancers. Okay, that's a good one. Saving in your 20s. We have a blog post coming up on that. We need to see Okpe. Don't worry, you see Okpe. Put the questions in the chat box first. Suggestions of great, medium. Okay. Okay, just put all your questions, thoughts, anything that you would like us to cover in the coming weeks or coming months, and we'll definitely get to it. How to beat inflation. Any other person leaving anything in the chat box, because we would be rounding up now. Our 1 hour is exhausted. But if you've gained anything from this session, just leave yes in the chat box. Just let us know so that we will be encouraged to do more of these teaching sessions where we interact with you, like this. So if you've gained anything in the last 1 hour, just put yes, yes, yes in the chat box so that we can encourage Yamio and we can ask her to come back, and Madam Damilola Hassan as well, can come back. If you don't put yes, they will not be encouraged. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okpe too, don't worry, you'll see Okpe very soon. All right, so we've come to the end of this session tonight. Thank you. I wish I could mention all the names. I'm very, very particular about, mentioning people by their names. So thank you, Abisola, Adebola, Adekunle, Basirat, everybody that has joined this evening. We really, really appreciate, that you spent your evening with us. We would go through the chat box, pick out everything that you've said, and try to answer each of them. But one thing I would like you to take away from this session that Madam Damilola mentioned is that you should think as an investor. So no matter what stage you are in, right? And it also ties to what Yami said about who you want to be, right? And why. So think of yourself as an investor. It doesn't matter how much you are earning right now. There's just a way that you see yourself when you think like an investor, when you are investing in your personal development, investing in like building really good relationships, people that think like you, that want to build something, right, in the next couple of years. So, that's one thing that I would like to leave with us. Someone is saying, okay, Yam is answering the question. But yeah, so we've come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much. Have an amazing evening. Thank you, Madam Damilola, for spending your evening with us. And thank you, Yami, for also, speaking to us. Bye, everyone. Have an amazing time ahead. Bye. Yami, do you want to say bye? Say bye, Yami.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.